Hey everyone, Leo with Dreaming Tree, and welcome to the assembly video for our Giselle card. This is part of our Winter Fashionista bundle, and I kind of took a little vote, well, just between Ron and I thought that this would probably be the most popular one. That's just me though, so who knows. Either way, I have all my pieces cut out, as should you, and we're going to start by putting the base together. And I decided to use the solid scoreline version for the card base and the envelope, so you can do the same. I think it looks nicer. We do include the perforated versions as well. I typically reserve those for the 3D projects because, well, everything folds much nicer for 3D projects, but for cards and base or cards and envelopes, solid score lines look way better. So anyway, so here's the card base. We're going to open it up, and on the inside we have this little panel, perfect for stamping, writing your little sentiment, message, whatever it may be. You can do a print to cut on this if you want. You could even use your drawing tool or pen tool to write your message, maybe using a single line font. Those always look much better than the bubble letter look that you ultimately get using a standard font. Okay, so we'll throw a little bit of glue on this, nice and easy. Make sure you get some out to the very edge. And this is going to go right inside here with a nice even border all the way around. So try to get that as centered as you can. And if it's slightly off, it's okay. There we go, just like that. And one thing that I just noticed right off the bat here is this little point right there. Might want to throw a little extra glue on those little points. So I just took a little scrap piece of paper, threw some glue right on the very corner, and I'll just touch it up and press that down. We don't want those getting snagged and ripping off. Okay, so there we have that. Now we could move on to the front. Okay, there we go. And this beautiful frame here, this, I believe it's a graphic 45 paper. Yep, it is. We're going to get this glued on like so, again, with a nice even border all the way around. And this paper does feel a little bit thinner than your standard cardstock, which is fine, but just if you are using a pattern paper that's a little thinner, just go a little bit easier on the glue so it doesn't warp the paper. If there's a good pattern on it, chances are if you do get a lot of glue on there, it shouldn't really be visible if it does happen to kind of blemish the paper. But either way, just be very careful. Give that a little nudge. There we go. Okay, that looks great. Okay, now since these cards go together pretty quick, I do recommend taking some time and doing a little bit of inking. It won't hurt, and it will definitely really make this thing pop. Okay, so for this piece here, this piece is going to sit right flush with the inside of the little panel here. Now, one thing I want you to do, since there are not really any markers on here, you'll notice that if you have it angled either too much to the left or too much to the right, you're gonna have a gap here. So you want to kind of swing this and move it and adjust it until all of this is making good contact with the inside part of this frame. So even like this, I'm noticing here, there's a little bit of a gap. We don't want that. So bring it in until it's all nice and flush. That's when you know you have it in the correct spot. And then just kind of get a visual cue as far as where to place it. So for me, this little visual cue, I have a tiny little snowflake right here, and I know that I need to keep this just to the left of that. And here I've got this giant pattern, you know, it needs to go just to the right of that. Okay, so we're gonna actually get this glued down first. I'm gonna go very easy with the glue here. And now in most cases, I would kind of assemble and layer things before doing all this, just so it's like one shot. But this one's pretty important to get down correctly, so I'm just doing it by itself. Okay, so there we go. Okay, next we're going to take and we're going to glue this part down. Okay, and well, this is the little fur collar. Okay, so we've got 2 layers. This is the AC Vanilla. I inked this and I also ran it through my Tiny Dot embossing folder. So if you think you have a good embossing folder that might work with this piece, by all means, you know, run it through your embossing machine. And I've got a brand new bottle of glue here, so it's kind of coming out pretty hard and strong. Gotta be careful. And just line those 2 sections up as accurately as you can. There we go, perfect. Press that down. Okay. And now, this piece here, you can see these little parts of the fur. Those are going to match up with these little cutouts here on that shadow layer, okay, as well as over here. So that's all we need to do, is just to make sure that we get it in the right spot, just match this piece up with the existing little shadow elements on the blue piece. In my case, blue. You may have a different color, because you guys really do these up in a ton of different colors and patterns, and it's just really fun to see your takes on these, and I know these are going to be really popular. Okay, so just match that up. There we go. The head element is going to actually get pop dotted on after the fact, after we get this part done. Okay, so next we're going to take this piece, and that's going to go right inside like a little puzzle piece. So just go easy on the glue here. Don't need to do a lot. Just need it to stick and stay. And I did hit this with a little bit of purple ink as well. And make sure that it fits in there nice and snug. Okay, there we go. Just like that. And we have this tiny little black piece right here. It's going to go right in there like a little puzzle. And literally, I think 1 little dot of glue on that will do. Maybe just a tiny bit at the tip. There we go, just like that. Okay, just pop that in like a little puzzle piece. Beautiful. Okay, wonderful. All right, so that's done. Now we can begin assembling the head portion of the project. Okay, and we're going to do this layer here. The biggest layer, you can call it, is going to be the backmost layer. We're going to take the black layer and put it on top of this layer, like so. Okay, so throw a little bit of glue on the back of that. Again, this card's going to go together real quick. It's kind of fun. You may end up, if you ink, you may end up spending more time inking than actually assembling. But again, totally worth it. Okay, match that up. The little shadow portion of the bow is present on the purple piece as well as the black piece. Okay, so just try to line that up as accurately as you can. Just like that. Okay, let's put the hat portion together next. That's going to go on like this. Okay, and you can see this little element with the 2 humps there. That's going to match up like that. So let's flip this over and apply our glue. Nice and easy. Okay, and just match that up right there, just like that. Perfect. Okay, we do have a little blue element that's going to go right on top there. And you can see the little cutouts there, little V-shaped cutouts. They're going to go right on top of that, so that the blue is just around it. Okay, just like this. And just do your best to line that up as accurately as you can. There we go. Perfect. Wonderful. Okay, let's put the face in place before we assemble the bow. Bow is going to be pretty much the last little element here. Oh, and we should have a set of lips. Okay, so if you happen to have a little pick-me-up tool like I have, This one is no longer made by Silhouette, but there's a few other ones on the market that pretty much accomplish the same thing. It's almost like a little pen with a tacky element at the very tip so that you can hold little delicate pieces like this in place. Okay, now you can see here the silhouette of her nose and the mouth, and we just want to match that up. Okay, so just be very careful here as we put that in place, just like that. Okay, had a little bit of glue shoot out there, but that's okay. Just touch it up, pull it off with your finger. There we go. Okay, and I did find the little lip element, thank goodness. Okay, and it's going to go on, it's almost like a heart shape with the tail of the heart on the left side and the two round parts of the heart on the right side. Okay, let's make sure we get that in the correct spot. There we go. And we did it like that with that tiny little piece so that you could actually, you know, pick the color of lipstick that she's wearing, because I know that can be important. Okay. All right, so next let's put the bow together. We have a blue piece for the shadow element, and then we have a purple piece that goes on top. Again, pretty small, delicate little piece. Don't need a lot of glue. Okay, here we go. Pop that right on top. I have a little bit of glue that's already poking out, and I don't like it. So I'm just going to take my little felt pad and just pull it off before it ends up making a huge mess. Okay, just line that up. There we go. Press that down. Wonderful. Okay, we also have this little gold element. It's going to go right on top of that. A very tiny little piece as well. So again, nice and easy on the glue. If you need to, just kind of dab it with your finger. Wipe your finger off. Now we used a gold foil on this, so I got to be careful not to blemish that gold foil. It does have a texture on it, so probably won't be that visible if I do, but there you have it. Okay, and now our little bow. You can see it's got kind of a wacky little cutout right there. That's the one that's going to go on the top right. Okay, and that is going down flat onto the rest of Miss Giselle here. She's a classy looking lady. I think they all are pretty much. Okay, just want to pop that in there like a little puzzle. Should fit perfectly. There we go. Okay. All right, so that whole thing is going to get pop dotted. Now we also have a little floral element here. This is the leaf portion. There's a little flower that goes on top of that. Just want to match that up like so. That's going to get glued down flat, and then we have one more little element that goes on top of that. Just to give it kind of a three-toned sort of look. Just match that up as accurately as you can. It's pretty tiny, so even just the slightest little rotation will pop it right into place where it needs to be. Okay, and then we have this little purple piece. And if you take a look at the purple piece, just to help you, there's one little nub that's a little bit thicker than all of the other ones. That's going to be on the right-hand side, directly right. Okay, so that'll kind of take some of the guesswork out of it. Oh, here we go. That's fine. Okay, perfect little spot for a pearl or a rhinestone. Okay, so now we're going to grab some foam squares. It's time to put the head in place here. I'll flip her over, and I'm going to put one there. We'll go here, we'll go there, and maybe there, and just for good measure, keep it nice and solid. Throw one right in the center. I'm not too concerned about putting any on the little feathers in her hat, as they are really dainty little pieces. They're not going to go anywhere. Okay, and now you'll notice these two little cutouts here. Those are sort of a continuation of the bow, like the bottom loops of the bow. So you want to bring the head pretty much right above where that is. Make sure it's nice and straight up. And there you have it. Perfect. The little flower here, you can throw a little foam square on that, and that is going to go right here as well. I think we actually might have a marker for it. Do we? Is it a marker? Yeah, I think that is a marker. And the leaf is going to point up. It's going to go right about there. Okay. Okay, then we have this beautiful frame here. And the inside is going to be completely flush, but there is going to be a little bit of a border going all the way around the perimeter. So lucky for me, again, we're using a gold foil here, which buys me some time. Okay, so now we just need to put this little frame together. And I think what I'm going to actually have you do is we're going to put glue on just about half of this. Okay, right up to about there. Okay, because it's a little hard to get in place, and plus it's a lot of real estate to cover with the glue before it dries. So we're just going to glue just the top section of this, and then we'll flip the rest of this up and glue the rest of it. Okay, so now that we have the first half glued down, grab a scrap piece of paper, just throw a little bit of glue on the very end of it, and you can just begin just kind of painting some glue on these little sections. I'm almost just kind of dabbing it on there. You could flip this, you could open this up like this and do it like this too. Just kind of giving you some different options depending on how far down you glued it. You may need to go in and use the scrap piece of paper, but this seems to be working for me. I'm going to dab that a little bit because I know in some spots I got a little too much glue. And then the cool thing is that it'll just fall right where it needs to, since we already have the upper half of it in place. Okay, so there you go. And this, of course, we're going to, you can technically glue this down flat. Let me see. Yeah, you can, but we're going to use some foam squares to give this some dimension. I think that's going to look a lot nicer. Okay, so grab those foam squares and let's start at the bottom, go on top, left and right, and then just kind of fill it in, maybe one extra one in between all of those. And flip it over, give it the old push test, make sure that it's not sagging too much in any area. And just peel those off. And the side, the top is the side that has a little club on it. Okay, so that's going to be your top. And you just want to match that up. You're going to tuck this in a little bit underneath the feather. Okay, and bring that down a little bit. Right about that. Make sure that club is nice and centered as well. Okay. Okay, so you have a couple options here. If you want, you can leave the feather and the rest of the hat outside of the frame. I kind of like the feather outside of the frame, like that. And then the brim of the hat under the frame. But we'll leave that up to you. You can decide how you want to do that. But there she is. Okay, so that is all ready to go. Inside is done. Take a look at the final photo for ideas on where to place some bling. But we also have a coordinating envelope to go along with the actual card. So here it is. I've already pre-folded the two flaps on the side, the one on the bottom, and we have this element here to give this a two-toned look, which is pretty common with our cards. And we're going to apply our glue to the top flap, nice and easy. Just go very easy with the glue here, all the way around. A little bit here, a little bit there. Get a little drop on these little areas here as well so they don't go pulling away. You can always clean that up later in case we don't get enough glue on it. And then take this piece and with the texture side out, just kind of push it up against the fold. Make sure it's centered. And then just press it down. And that never fails me. Works like a charm every time. Okay. Then we do have those two little gold elements that we're going to add to this little flourish here to finish it off. Okay, this guy is going to go in like a little puzzle where the cutout is. So there's no guesswork as far as where it goes. Okay, just pop it right in there. Should fit like a glove, as they say. And then we have the little gold circle. One dot of glue should do. It's a tiny little dot. Probably want to overboard on that. And that's going to go in the center of the little club at the top. Right about here. Just use that little point to help you get it nice and centered. Press that down. There we go. Okay. Now we're going to take these two flaps, bring them in, and just apply a nice thin little line of glue along the bottom. Got a little bit of gunk on there. Oops. What is going on here? There we go. Just like that. And fold this up. Press that down into place. Hold that for just a moment. There we go. Okay. And of course, it's not completely set yet, but I gotta show you that it works nicely. And there it is. Okay. So that is it. It's gonna do it for Miss Giselle. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please take a moment, hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel. There's also a little bell that you can hit so you get notifications anytime we release a new product. And if you make this or anything from our Winter Fashionista bundle, I'd love to see it, and so would the rest of our community. So head over to your Facebook and do a search for Dreaming Tree Official, or you can type in this little URL that you see here at the bottom of your screen. So I hope you had a good time. I hope you love the card. I can't wait to see yours. And as always, I look forward to crafting with you again.